Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Coach D, the Wild Man. I'm coming at you again, but this time we are rolling out the business of MMA. So I'm going to be Coach D with Fight Camp University, and basically what I'm here to do is start teaching MMA fighters what it takes for you to be more valuable as a brand for not only promotions, not only being selected for more opportunities with sponsors and doing deals for merchandise sales, things like that. So starting to teach you what it takes to match up to what the industry is looking for, not just winning in the cage. So what I decided to do is get one of the leaders in the industry, Dave Oblas. He's the promoter of NFC, and he's going to help break some of the things down and what it takes to really be in the game. So if you're not being selected by promotions or you don't see your name rise in the sport, you can't put all the blame on promotion. Sometimes you got to look at what you're doing or not doing to really be in this business of MMA. So, David, what's going on, man?
I love the idea because I always tell people I like talking about the business aspects. I really don't consider myself a fight promoter at times because I think the word fight promoter has negative connotations to it from Don King years ago and people just seeing movies. I always just consider myself a small business owner, so I enjoy talking the business side of MMA. So it's a cool topic.
Okay, good. We right on time there. Um, when I look on social media and I'm watching Facebook and I really talk to a lot of fighters, I listen to what they say about if they're happy or unhappy about their career in the sport. So it's a physical sport. Fighters get hurt. It's blood, sweat, and tears. Your fight camp is brutal, and then they don't see themselves being successful in the sport, and they really don't know why. So I'm glad you're on, and I wanted to ask you just a couple of questions to kind of get perspective of what it takes to really be in this game and really go to the next level. So I appreciate you being on with me.
Yeah, and one thing, not to cut you off before you ask a question, it's funny you say that right there about fighters kind of talking about promotions. I just read someone put out an article about Rory McDonald today because he's fighting Lima from Atlanta next, so it keeps popping up on my news feed. And I just read it about an hour or two ago on my phone, and Rory McDonald sat there making, you remember, he left UFC for grass is greener on the other side, Bellator. And in the article, he's sitting there talking about how Bellator is very slow moving. He expected better out of them by this point in time. He thought he'd already be fighting for one title, if not a second title. And he just said the company seems kind of small and confused and unorganized. And I'm sitting there reading that article. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, no employee in the world talks about their company that way and think that's an okay thing to do. Like, I don't know what you do for a day job. If you work for IBM, you don't go into work talking to journalists and the media telling how the IBM hierarchy is unorganized and slow moving. So the sport of MMA always baffles me how people talk bad about their employer, whether it's a promoter or a gym or anybody. Sometimes it just baffles me. But sorry, I had to just tell my Rory McDonald story.
Oh, no problem. Well, I'm going to actually look that up because when he first got signed, he was singing them praises and it's a better contract and blah, blah, blah. So if it's not moving fast for him, that's not the promotion spot. That's probably his value in the marketplace. If you're a hot commodity, you're a hot commodity. If you're not,
yeah, and I hope the guy makes millions. I mean, I hope he makes $10 million and becomes the next Conor McGregor or whatever. But you don't want to ever talk bad about your bosses. I mean, I think we're taught that in fourth grade. Never talk bad about bosses.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on that. And like I said, welcome to the world of MMA where everybody has an opinion. Everybody feels they have the right to say whatever they want to say simply because they feel like saying it. But at the end of the results, you get what you give. If you don't give nothing, you don't get nothing. Plain and simple,
exactly.
In my opinion. All right, let's get into it. Like I said, I've been following you for a minute since the first day we met, and watching you as a promotion and watching how you've grown in the sport. And the day you finally posted that you have joined with Alliance MMA, I did my research the best I can. I really wanted to start learning how that's beneficial for you as a promoter and where the company takes promotions once they're under the umbrella. So that's my first question is, how has Alliance helped you as a promoter and helped your brand with NFC? How have you grown being under their banner?
I think in my 15 years as being a promoter, you're on an island as a promoter. There's not a lot of fight promoters in the country. Like if you think about it in Georgia, how many are in Georgia? Maybe 2 or 3 that are good. So in the Southeast, there might be 6 fight promoters in the Southeast I could think of that are good that I'd call for advice and that they'd call me. And so when you think about how many in the country, I don't know, 50 or 60 or maybe. And there's just not that many of us. So there's no handbook or guidebook on how to promote fights successfully for so long. And what Alliance has done is they've brought together so far the 10 top fight promoters in the country in their regional markets and put them under one umbrella. We have quarterly meetings. We have shared emails every day. We have Zoom meetings every day. We have accountants we have to prepare documents for. Like I've spent more time talking to an accountant in the last 4 months than I ever have in my life. And it's helped me shore up my P&L statements where I used to think I was making this much money on an event. Oh crap, I'm only making this much on an event, like not near what I thought I was making because I'm spending money here, here, and here, and I didn't see the taxes I had to pay properly and the gate fees and this and that. Like I didn't record them properly for the last 15 years of my P&L. So it's opened my eyes, and it's just given me a good basis to give other promoters advice of things that I've done that are successful and things I've done not so successful. And it's put us in a room every 12 weeks with the 10 other fight promoters and just open our eyes to everyone's comments, everyone's criticism, moving forward with logos, graphic design, videos, contracts, fight deals for fighters, helping us open up different venues in each other's market. Just so much advice that I've honestly gotten in only 2 corporate meetings with these people. I mean, we just acquired Roy Engelbrecht's Fight Club OC from California in the last couple months. So him and his son Drew attended their first Alliance MMA meeting about a month ago that we did in New Jersey. And this guy's been around forever. He's done a Fight Club University, and he just sat there and he's like, guys, I've been doing this forever. Like he's a part of Triple D's management company for boxing. Okay. He's like, I'm just absolutely amazed the information we've got in only 2 days, all the ideas everyone here has. He's like, this is the most brilliant thing I've ever thought of. And he's just like, I'm so happy I joined this Alliance MMA because it's going to move us all in the right direction. And it's just cool. It's just eye-opening to now be a part of a team of fight promoters that all want the best for everybody because we all have stock in the company. We all have a vested interest. And for all of us, it's a real job.
Okay. So you figure this has recharged your batteries towards being successful with the sport? Because, a lot of people can't see the finish line, and they end up either crumbling or they lose their energy or they just get burnt out. You think you being part of this platform has taken a lot of pressure off your shoulders that you can enjoy the sport more? Is that what you think you're at right now?
It really has. It's taken a lot of pressure off my shoulders, but it's also put a lot more on my shoulders. Okay. Now I've got managers to report to. I've got a boss to report to. In the past, if I made money in an event, awesome. I'd go eat filet mignon the next day. If I lose money, it's my own money. I need a McDonald's drive-thru for a week or two because I just lost $10,000 on a fight night. I had no one to report to. Now I have people to report to, and they look at my numbers daily. They help with Facebook advertising. They help with flyers, graphic design, videos to make sure 3 weeks out we know where we're at ticket sales, and we know what we need to do to be successful. Right now I'm 2 weeks out from NFC 100 on Friday, October 13th, so they're helping me plan for the things that I have to do in the next 2 weeks to make sure it gets done. In the past, I just kind of wing it and do whatever I thought was necessary. But now there's actually a blueprint for success. And I think it's the coolest thing for fight promoters, I've ever seen.
Okay. Hey, that's what's up. I also seen that you, speaking of contracts, like I said, I haven't seen no other promotion do it but you, which I think is cool. You're being the first one to start doing a 4-fight contract with a lot of local fighters. So that's awesome. So what made that idea come about that where you now wanted to put fighters on? I mean, it's not a brand new concept. Other big promotions have done it. But what made this the right time for you to start putting fighters under contracts?
Because Alliance came out with it and said, we're now at the point that we can do this, and it's advantageous to us as Alliance MMA. It's advantageous to us as the regional promoters, and it's super advantageous to the fighters that are interested in looking to sign for something. So the great thing about the fighters from their viewpoint is they can sign a 4-fight deal. So instead of fighters having to fight this weekend and then start looking for a fight in 2 months, figuring out the weight, whether, they can find a 135 fighter, they're going to do catch weight 140, which promotion they're going to fight for, completely renegotiating their purse money from promotion to promotion. Now it gives fighters the ability to sign a 4-fight deal with Alliance MMA. And remember, our utmost goal is get guys to the UFC. That's the goal of Alliance MMA, to push as many fighters to the end goal of UFC as possible. That's, if you look at the Alliance MMA Facebook page or website, that's what we show off so much, is being a feeder organization to the UFC. So we want to sign guys to 4-fight deals and help them get to the UFC as quick as possible, where they can fight for the NFC, they can fight for V3 in Tennessee, they can fight for Fight Time Promotions in Florida, they can fight for CFFC in New Jersey, and we all have online documents where we put in there 125 guys, 135, 145, 155, or whatever, so we can see all the guys in a spreadsheet who we all have signed. And I can simply look online and see there's a guy in Tennessee that V3 has a 155 that's 3-0. Hey, that's terrific. I've got a 155 that's 5-2 looking to fight. Let's match these two guys up on the next show, and hopefully they do well and one of them keeps moving on. And whoever loses still has that 4-fight deal with us where they can fight on the other person's show. So it's just, I think it's the best thing for the fighters, because it gives them just a sense of security, really.
Okay. So with that 4-fight deal, is so that's guaranteed money. Once you sign the dotted line, you're guaranteed the same money, whatever you negotiate for those 4 fights. Is that
yeah, that would basically be your minimum. So say I sign you up to a 4-fight deal, your minimum's 500 show, 500 win for those 4 fights. So that's your minimum. So if it's the main event in New Jersey for the CFFC, we're going to pay you a little bit more than if it was the first pro fight of the night in the NFC. Additionally, if you go 3-0 during those 4 fights, that 4th fight you're getting more because you're not a 5-5 fighter anymore. But if you go 1-3, or if you go 0-3 for those fights, you got to realize you're still going to be a 5-5 for the last fight because you're at 0-3. Additionally, I pay a higher ticket commission. If you sell, $1,000 in tickets, you get this amount. 2,000, you get a higher. 3,000, you get a higher amount. So you make more money going that way. Your airfare and hotel are covered, or your travel and hotel are covered for any of the promotion you travel to. And you know that now all these promoters want to see you get to the UFC. Where in the past, you'd just be an opponent on someone else's show. You wouldn't get treated that great. You get put up in a crummy hotel. Now you're assigned Alliance fighter. We're going to treat you as good as we can. We're going to get good graphics done on you, good photos done on you. If you have a spectacular knockout, we're going to push that knockout on social media as fast as we can to show off, hey, Darren Eady knocked a guy out in 8 seconds this weekend. Let's blast that on Facebook and social media, and hopefully someone in the UFC picks it up and sees it.
Okay. So good. My next question you just answered. So they do still get their percentage of ticket sales and things along that line. So they don't lose any money by being under that contract. So that's pretty cool. But
this is just the minimum. And remember, this is the minimum of whatever we negotiate that's fair for our community. So all 4 fights of yours might be for me in the NFC. You might have 2 fights for me, and you might have 1 for V3 in Tennessee, and then I was even telling Brandon Longano at the last fight night about it. He's a 155 guy, and I was telling him about it. The great thing is he's a guy that I know is a tough fighter. He's mature. He's extremely respectful. He shows up to fight. He's a guy, if CFFC called me and said, hey, we need a great 155 here in 3 weeks, short notice, who do you have? And I'd say Brandon Longano. There's no one more respectful than him. I know he'll show up. He'll make weight. He'll treat you guys with respect. He'll put on a good show. He's not going to sell any tickets in New Jersey, obviously, but he'll do everything you want him to do, and he might even come out of there with the W.
Okay, that's what's up. Here's the last part to that, to go on the same topic. I know you spoke about, helping fighters get to the big shows like UFC or Bellator. How does that benefit either NFC or Alliance getting a fighter, to the big show? So if you're not managing them, what's the benefit to that? It's good to say, hey, we helped you get there, but what does it actually mean for the promotion?
Well, it establishes Alliance MMA as a feeder organization to the UFC. We don't want to compete with the UFC. That's not our goal at all. We're not looking to go on pay-per-view and do this or that. We're looking to be a feeder organization to the UFC. So our goal is to get you guys there, but it also legitimizes Alliance MMA as a top fight promotion and a top business, and it establishes all these other subsidiary companies like the NFC, V3, Fight Time, as we help guys get to the next goal. We're a real MMA promotion in Atlanta. So say I have a competitor here in Atlanta, let's call them ABC Fight Time. NFC is better than ABC because we've sent 55 guys to the UFC. So if you're a fan, you want to go watch NFC fights. You want to buy tickets to NFC fights. I don't want to go watch ABC fights. They've never sent anyone to UFC. I want to go see the next stars at UFC, which is NFC Fight Night at Center Stage.
Okay, all right, that's what's up. Okay, like I said, that's what a lot of fans and fighters are trying to figure out. Just how it's how I read some of their, Facebook comments. But let me ask you this: now that you're moving forward and you're in a bigger stage, a bigger platform, how do you develop the business relationship between fighter and promoter? Because a lot of fighters are, I don't want to say misinformed, or they're not doing enough research to understand the the business of the sport. What kind of conversations do you have with fighters? Other than, we know, hey, you sign up, you fight, you make weight, blah blah blah. What kind of conversations do you have with up and coming fighters to make sure they understand the importance of the business side of the sport?
I mean, I think fighters need to get that we're their friends. We're fight promoters because we're almost all fight promoters I know of that are good ones are fight fans. Before we're really promoters, we're fans. I mean, not only do I try to get fighters to fight for me, myself and my matchmaker, Jesse Wable, have tried to get and have gotten fighters tons of fights on other shows, particularly outside Atlanta. We're not going to compete with ourselves, but we've gotten fights on other shows where we get 0% of their purse money just because we're friends with them. I went running with this morning with Dave Vitke, a friend of mine who's fought for me many times. He got knocked out on my last show when he fought on LFA in South Carolina. Things happen. But I think the bad promoters from 100 years ago, throwing out the names of boxing, Don King or whatever, people hear the stories are mistreated fighters. I think fighters think we're out to get them when we're not their friends. I wish that role was reversed where fighters realize we are their friends. We're their fans. We want to pay them $1 million. We just can't because they're not selling that many tickets and we're not selling out the Georgia Dome or Phillips Arena or anything like that. So, I mean, the fighters that are respectful to us, we're respectful back to. We pay them as much as we can. I've raised the ticket commission. And the great thing is they're not, until they sign this 4-fight deal, which I've never done in 15 years, they're not tied down to Dave Oblas or the NFC. Like, they can fight for me once, and then, like you said, they're their own brand. As much as they advertise themselves on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, once they fight for me, they get to go fight for anyone else that they want to. Like, this isn't Major League Baseball where I'm signing Alex Rodriguez on an 8-year contract where he can only play for the New York Yankees. That's not the way the game is. Once Brandon Logano fights for me and he wins and he gets a 10-second knockout and he wins my title belt, he's his own business. He's his own LLC. He can go fight for any other fight promotion in the world and hopefully make millions of dollars. And that's all that I want for these guys. I want to see them accomplish their goals and do well. But at the same time, they also need a fight tough competition because that's what our fans want to see. They don't want to see someone beat up someone every time out in 10 seconds. That's 0-7. No one wants to see that. That's not one they want to pay $50 for. So it is a balancing act we play between being friends with their guys and, potentially handing them a loss because we want them to fight tough. So the fans keep coming back every show.
Okay. So let's talk about the promotion aspects. So now that you're under Alliance, how does the content distribution work? A lot of other promoters do Flow Combat and things like that. So are you guys? You still use Flow Combat? Do you have complete control of your content? Blah blah blah. How does all that work now under Alliance?
I've talked to Flow Combat a few times in the past. We're talking about a few different deals. I never went with them, and I thought they were a cool company. I never went with them because I knew I was talking to Alliance MMA at the time, and I wanted to go into Alliance MMA with a clean slate. I didn't want to sign a long-term contract with Flow Combat. So when I saw the other promoters had Flow, I was actually a little bit jealous. I was like, damn, I want to be internet streaming, and I can't be because I know I'm engaged in these negotiations. I didn't want it to hold me back later. So Alliance MMA has their own completely streaming network that they do of all their fight promotions throughout the country. So they're going to start putting mine on live, I think, with NFC 100. We did a trial test a few months ago, and we did one. So basically, they own all the content, which is a good thing because now they have the ability to go through and make all the edits, do all the highlights, send it to the UFC or Bellator or wherever they need to send it to. And it's going to be a lot nicer than me always having on the a one camera angle with two commentators. Now for every show, we're going to have two or three camera angles and just put out a lot better HD experience for people to watch online. So long story short, it's going to be Alliance's own streaming network, which you can see a lot of the shows from CFFC, V3, and others on their streaming network as it is right now.
Okay, so on their website, you'll be able to know how to access the videos and watch it, all the kind of just like like not Flow Combat, like some of the other ones out there like Fight Pass with the UFC, so kind of like that.
Yep, exactly like that.
Cool. Okay, that's what's up then. Okay, so
that's another benefit. So someone that might go online to watch Roy Engelbrecht's show in California, and they might pay to watch his fight night, might click on the NFC and see Lawson McClure knock out Josh Blyden next weekend. So that's a cool thing when you talk about bringing together 10 or 12 fight promotions across the country. It opens these guys up. In the past, someone would just go watch the NFC on internet streaming, and that's it. They wouldn't come across anyone else. Now they can come across these 9 or 10 different promotions.
Okay. And I think that's the value that a lot of fans haven't caught on yet, that you now have access to up to 10 different promotions that, a viewer interest. So if you're a true MMA fan, you have that much more fight content to be a part of. So it's slowly, people are slowly recognizing they just haven't caught on all the way yet.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is what makes Alliance MMA different than like the UFC or Bellator? What makes your brand, different?
I think, in my opinion, a big different thing is, one, we're not trying to compete with the UFC. We're not doing casinos in Vegas. We're not doing the big production. We're not doing all that. And UFC won't let their fighters fight elsewhere. Once you sign with the UFC, you're with the UFC. We're saying sign with us for a 4-fight deal so we can help you get to the UFC. We want to be the minor leagues of mixed martial arts. So we're trying to push as many fighters to that. But also, UFC is their own company. Bellator is their own company. They don't make out with other companies. Alliance MMA is 10 different companies, 10 different promoters across the country, and we're all making out with each other. We're all put in one big salad bowl, and we're all helping each other get better. So 10 promoters working together, along with a company called Cage Tix, which is like the Ticketmaster MMA. It only sells tickets to fights, and it does it across the country. So we own that company as well. And then we also own Brian Butler and Brian Hamper's Sucker Punch Entertainment, which is a management company. So it's 10 different promotions along with 2 different similar companies all working together under one corporate office. So I think that's the main difference for us in the UFC. We're the feeder organization to them.
Okay. That's what's up. Now, here's one big question that, I've been trying to get enough research on. What I've noticed, just my small little world of information gathering, is I don't see a lot of sponsorships with promotions. They have 1 or 2 sponsors, but I don't see a large, list of different sponsors from North Carolina, South Carolina. What are some of the advantages for sponsors, and what are some of the things that hinder sponsors from being part of a fight promotion, from your opinion?
I think with small regional promoters and fighters, I think lots of sponsors are usually your friends, like friends and family and local businesses and stuff like that. And I think lots of times they're doing it as a favor to you almost. Like you see all these fighters post on Facebook, hey, I'm fighting October 13th for NFC. I'm looking for sponsors. But they never say what they can do for the sponsors in return. So they're getting $500 from a sponsor, and then 2 months later they're reinventing the wheel, and next time they fight, and they're making another Facebook post saying, hey, looking for sponsors. But they never figure out a way to send business to the sponsors. So that's one cool thing about Alliance MMA is we have a guy that's solely in charge of sponsorship sales, and that's where it's been great to talk to him a few times because he helped me learn what we can do for the sponsors in return. Like, I was trying to get a local food service company that does the meal packets and to sponsor my fights. And he said, okay, how are you going to send business back to them after the fight's over? And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to put their logo on the cage and have my announcer read them off. And that's about it. Like, that's what we do for sponsors. And he's like, no, why don't you tell them, they're to prepare all the food at the weigh-ins. So now you've got 30 fighters eating their food at the weigh-ins, and everyone gets a coupon for 50% off from this food supplier the week after the fight. And they set up a vendor booth in the hallway, and they're doing free taste testing to people in the crowd and all these other interactive type things. And I'm like, oh crap, I never even thought about those kind of things right there.
Mm.
So I think it's a lot of promotions, and I don't say this to be rude, a lot of promoters fell into it by accident because they were big fight fans. And some have had success and some haven't, but not all of them are the brightest people in the world that you know everything. Because a fight promoter is usually one person. You have to promote the fights. You got to spend the advertising money on the radio. You got to hire a graphic designer, work with the insurance companies, go talk to a hotel about getting reduced rates. Either you're doing all your matchmaking or you have someone else do it. Then you got to order awards and belts and get your cage set up and tore down. Well, guess what? After all that, you don't have the time to do all your sponsorship sales and make sure when you do actually sell a sponsorship, you're giving them a great return on investment.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't have the time of the day, really, because everything else takes it up. So I think that's where sponsorship sales have been lacking for fighters and fight promoters on a regional aspect. It's just there's no follow-up and there's no delivery of a good return on investment.
Okay. Like I said, and that really you hit in a nutshell is from my side of the coin. When I deal with fighters and we talk about sponsors, they really don't have that experience to understand what it takes for a return on investment. And that's why I created Fight Camp University, so we can start explaining what branding means, what value means, what ROI means, so they have a clear picture if they're meeting the grade or not. Just because you get a knockout, in the cage, if nobody knows who you are or how you got there, and you're just waiting on the promotion to help you, you're gonna always come up short. Then you may end up burning out. You don't feel like you're a hot commodity, even though you may be a hot commodity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think the days of just selling a sponsorship and putting their logo on your shorts and your T-shirt and calling that a sponsorship, I think those days are beyond us. I think you need to do a little bit more than that. And right now there's a roofing company in Atlanta called Champion Roofing, owned by Eddie Walker, a former fighter here, and he's sponsored me and he's sponsored a few fighters. Mm-hmm. And it's been a great thing, but I think now these fighters need to figure out how can they get someone to buy a new roof from Eddie Walker? Like that should be their goal, not just to put a roofing company on their T-shirt or shorts, but how do they send traffic to him? Mm-hmm. Something like that. There's a couple chiropractors here in Atlanta. Jason Weeks is a great chiropractor. He services a lot of fighters. Mm-hmm. How do they send business outside the fight community to Dr. Jason Weeks, a chiropractor? And that's what they need to figure out, those kind of things. Yeah. Or these sponsors aren't going to be there for them very long.
Yeah. And like I said, so we'll talk more down the line as well. Because I said that's what we're trying to develop, so that we're able to get fighters to really, because like I said, if they see that they can make money, 9 out of 10 they're going to put forth more effort into being good at fighting, at themselves, keeping themselves well groomed, knowing what to say on the air, know what to do inside the training camp, so they can get these exposure that they need, instead of just sitting back waiting and go, "Ooh, I'm so good. They should fly into my door," and I'd be like, "No, dude, that's so far from the truth." So thank you for that, because that's really gonna put it in perspective for a lot of fighters, coming up, especially if they know they're gonna be coming to your promotion and start fighting for you. They have an expectation of what to expect. So that's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I appreciate you spending some time with us and letting everybody know what Dave Oblas is doing with NFC and what Alliance MMA is bringing to the table. So I'm gonna let you end with this. Give fight fans something they can look forward to in these fights coming up on NFC.
We've got 3 shows planned as of now, which are all 3 pretty cool shows. We've got NFC 100 on Friday the 13th, Friday, October 13th. I don't know if there's any easier in the marketing in the world than that right there. Mm-hmm. So Friday the 13th, NFC 100 is historic at center stage. And the weigh-ins, I just started doing weigh-ins at an area called the Battery outside the Atlanta Braves new stadium, SunTrust Park. So we're going to do the weigh-ins there the night before at 6:30 p.m. And that's been super cool because it gets televised on an HD screen, a 40-foot screen right behind the guys. So they got totally psyched for that last time. We're going to do that again this time. That's headlined by Brandon Logano versus Joe Elmore. And the co-main event is Josh Blyden defending his title versus Lawson McClure, who I've loved Lawson. I think he's one of my favorite fighters out there. He always brings it. NFC 101 is going to be at a brand new venue called Monday Night Brewing on Friday, November 10th, which is on the Beltline here in Atlanta. There's going to be a black tie event, gambling, cigar smoking outside, an all amateur show. First time doing it there, so that's cool. And then NFC 102 is a week later on Friday, November 17th, back at Electric Cowboy in Kennesaw, with a huge main event of Wes Barnes defending his title versus Chaz Walton in a fight a lot of people wanted to watch. You know, Chaz is the former NFC champ, had to relinquish the title for shoulder surgery, and now in his first fight back, he's going after the current champion, Wes Barnes. So that's something a lot of people want to watch. So that's, that's October to November, and looking at January and February right now and trying to plan those out for next year.
Wow. Okay. That's one thing. You haven't slowed down. I give you that. Sounds like you picking up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, once you get the energy in anything, it gets it back into you. And, the energy has been brought back.
All right. That's what's going on. All right, fight fans. That was Dave Oblas of NFC. He is the promoter. He has given you, from his perspective, what it takes to be successful as an MMA fighter and also as a promoter. If you want to stay longevity in this game, I appreciate his time. Once again, this is Coach D with the first official podcast on Fight Camp University, where we talk about the business of MMA. We're going to keep doing what we're doing to give you what you need to be successful in this sport. If this is the sport you want to be in, as you know, it's the fastest growing sport in the world. There's no getting around it. We are simply doing the daggone thing. So this is Coach D. Until you hear from me again, peace out.